Hey people, it's quiet this Sunday morning. You can hear the birds chirping out here. Oh, Turtle came to visit me 3 out of the past 4 days. Oh, Donatello liking the pizza. He ate a big chunk of sausage off the other end before he started working on the bread and sauce. So yeah, most turtles I deal with are in the river. They get on my fishing line often. When there's turtles in your fishing hole, it's time to move to another fishing hole. When you do something the same way for a long time, some of the control buttons, they never get moved. And these dials will rust in place. You won't be able to move them. The machine might look old and rusty and still runs fine, but it only does certain things. Some of those switches won't move anymore. And rust comes from the most ancient English Germanic languages connected to red, iron. And it's the same thing 5,000 years ago. It's ancient Hebrew. My servant not do turn from it to the right hand or the left. They've been doing things this Moses way for so long that of a dial, D-I-A-L, of dial, my servant, a servant, you use a dial to control something in another room, on another planet, of dial. And it's coming from the through of, die of, through of. And then this tells you to read this backwards. The rust, R-U-S-T. They add an A in there, but this is a R-U-S-T. And the rust is where. And my servant not do turn, it's of dial. A rust is where. Mine, double M is a M-I-N. Mine, W-I-M-N. Mine women. On the right hand, I got my women, and on the left hand was all on. I had all the women. I had them on my right arm and the left. Mine women was all on. So that's just pointing to your arms, to the right and the left. Mine's women was all on. Yak, 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 yak. So this book of Joshua, it comes right after Moses' death. And Joshua has 3 spellings in the Greek, and all 3 of them are exact same spellings as Jesus. And so that's what this word means. Jesus. Jesus didn't know who his father was. And that's what this word Joshua means. And it more means children. If you just read it through, it's YM and reveal. And rye, twisted sheep. Who's twisted sheep? To reveal it that way. When spoke Yahweh to Joshua, he's twisting the sheep. Who reveals, who shows him. And you use of in none. Use of in none. You got no father. But when you read it with all the markings here, and it's who's reveal as Y, W-H-Y, as Y, who's of N, and the double N here, it's following N here, so this is a Y-U-N, and then back this way, U-N, a youngin'. Whose youngin' are ya? And reveal all as Y, who's of N youngin'. And so when's this happen? Oh, when old folks die, they come out with the truth and they tell you, well, that's who your daddy really is. And yay, and let it be a hurry, right, you're behind, coming after. You're in a hurry to catch up. And a hurry what? A hurry what is of die. We who yammer, we who am reveal as Y who's of in youngin' from his R. And you're usually the minister's kid, They had ancient law, and all the virgins either got banged by the king or the czar or the high priest, And so usually your first kid wasn't your first kid. You wasn't too sure about it. You see it here in this word, the issue. The issue, your children. The issue own, own, mine, yours, your children. A wonder, the key is a W. A wonder is of. And manly. And so men, you wonder, is that your kid? The women's pretty sure that that's the baby that come out of me, but a man, you don't know because your virgin wife slept with the king the first night. And the wonder is of. And sometimes, you're out chasing girls and you picking up 20-year-old girls in a bar room and you wonder, issue on, might that even be one of my children? A wonder is of. And it's real manly, to bang girls half your age and not even know if it's your child. To guard them is a file, like a pedophile, a file, a cestage. An issue on, a wonder is of file, a cestage. Am I filing my own daughter? So I put this Greek and this Hebrew in this line 7 side by side so we get a closer look at it. But I'm going to look at this line before this in Hebrew first. And it's easy to see it's talking about kids here. The column of come, assured to track up. The column of a bunch of kids come, assured to track up. And will tread the sole of your foot to track up and make ledger. Make a sign, make a ledger, a click 'em to stomp your feet, click 'em, the sole of your foot, to click 'em in will come. This is where your word welcome come from. And the sons of Israel, every place they would tread the sole of their feet where there is a welcome sign. And memmed of her well of in when. When she remembers something really well, and she memmed of her well of in when, these would reeve ever. Reeve is the way you string a line through a set of blocks, tackle, and ever. The N being between the E's, it reads as a B or a V in either direction. You see it here with just a N-E-R. And so if there was a tack here, this would read R-E-V-E-R. That's where the ancient word river come from. But it's not always river, but it has to do with the river. Sometimes you want to divert a river. And the goodwill averter part, to divert part of the river. And most all these lines, you don't stop just because they say that's where you stop is. Run these lines together. And will ya, as in catches quam, Q-U-A-M, a proper way of saying home. And will catches whom, the quamets, sky, the quamet sky, whom sky at it in chill, just chilling, staring at the sky, shall divide an inheritance. For you shall divide inheritance. They're not giving the sons of Israel any place on earth. They're getting a place in the sky. And catches quam, whom its sky at it in chill at. Kick back and staring at the sky and backwards and move them. And move them these at shares arts. And assure it of sins. And so it of, and then backwards and forwards, S-N-S, the sins body. Assure it of sins body. That's That's as a right, the right of sin's body. And that means that, well, people used to wander and hunt these lands forever. It was just common territories. And when somebody went to fencing it up and putting claims on it, that is the writ of sin's body. And you see, and what their fathers to give them, that's the bottle of what let. The father doesn't have tits. All he can give you a bottle. The bottle of what little them. The bottle of what little them. And rough. And rough is quam. Quam. And that's a word it's only used in the English language for home in Old English. And in Latin, meaning most, very, as much as you can. And quam, in whom its models more loss what? A CIL, double K, a CIL, and the killer what it where has her suck. XUK, suck, I command you. And the loss what killer what it where has her suck. Must of dial. Rust. They've been doing it this way forever. It's the Nyler's rule. You get the girl to come out on the boat and you pull her out there amongst all the crocodiles and you tell her suck or get out. The law of Moses has her suck. It where has her suck must. Of dial rust is where mine women was some all on to skill in call as her talk, and to skill in call as her talk. In call, this is in class, or this is a selection. They try to say it's all, but it's a selection, a selected part, a call, the color, and the class or talk. And so talk is, I don't believe you just went there. It's not a place. It's a subject to talk about, wherever you go. You don't have to leave the house. I can talk about anything right here, wherever you go, and class or talk. And rough is quam. Rough is whom it's a models more. Very that you may observe. It's just a model to observe. Something pretty to look at. A models more. A loss what kill. The killer what it where has her. It's suck. Must of dial rust is where. Mine women are from in a women was all on to skill in class or talk. And in the Greek, it was the issue on a wonders of. Might this be my daughter? Might this be my kid? The issue on the wonders of. File a cestich. And Fian Katudi having tile it too. And you see this the same, the Netil in the Hebrew and the Greek, it's the same place as I gave charge. And so the issue of on wonders of the file is cestage. And the fee in OI reading as a E, F-E-E, the fee in, the one to pay the tab, the fee in Katudi. And so that's, a Katudi is, it might be the king's daughter, it might not be mine, and that's where your word kados, the father's nuts, the kados, and the Katudi is the price, to pay, to the custodian, to take care of the king's children. You have been entitled to. I gave charge to you. And you would take care of your first kid was the king's kid. I gave charge. If you want to get married, that's just the way it was. And the fian catudi and the tilet to see 'em of says of pays 'em of pays 'em of vow, a vowel, a word, a V-O-U and the K coming before the E is a L. The vowel, to give your word, the vow. The catudi having tilet tusum of says of pays 'em of. Pays, that's the same base word for the children and your servants. The pays, paid, and pays 'em of vow. Give my word. And so this turn aside, it looks like this may be the ancient abortion. The K, following the K is the I, a kill, and the kill of IV, the kill of his, of ought to vise, not an N but a V, E-I-S, and ought to vise debts, the D-E-T-S, the debts, the right hand, the debts, yeah, the I-A, look in your right hand, it might say yeah in there, mine does, but the I-A actually turns into the U, and it's the debts which his, you taking care of the king's kid, of authorized debts which his aristera, aristocrat, the royalty, reign, R-A-I-N-A, reign, reigns, when his reign as when his in phase in the O-I reading is a E. The phase-in is hand fraxes, F-R-A-T-S, to fraternize. You should act on the fraxes. Issue on wonders of a file is sestige, and fian catudi have a tilet to see. Of says of pays 'em of a vowel, a kill of his, of ought to vise the debts which his reign as when his in phase and his hand fratzes. And you'll see this hand start many lines, but it's usually followed with a D in the next word, the D or the T. But this is the on. The A-N is the heaven, the gods of heaven, the sky gods, the on, when on high, the sky gods. And so it lets you know that the stories are all about the heavens and the sky gods, but the kings on earth try to place themselves as the sky gods. So the kings would be practicing the same things, the same poetry that was written about the skies. And we'll cut this off here. Good day.